Hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and the pleasure to introduce you to the face behind Yerba Montana. Uh, and it's I mean that truly, that it's great to connect with people in general that are materos or people that enjoy yerba mate. That's the whole purpose of kind of starting the podcast. But even cooler when you get to meet a fellow American that is into it, got a company, like it's just taking it even a step further. So personally for me, it's really cool to have these experiences, and the fun thing I get to do is to get to share this experience with everyone else. It's kind of like yerba mate in an essence, right? And so the cool thing is being able to literally broadcast this all around the world of basically our one-on-one conversation. So thank you, MacKay, for joining us and being a part of this experience, and sharing what your love for yerba mate and culture and everything else as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be on, and thanks for having me on. And that's one thing I've been kind of enjoying recently is, I've been trying to delve into social media a little bit more and kind of seeing the whole broader yerba community out there and meeting you and like Kurt Cunning. I guess you guys are friends, and then all the other little yerba brands out there that are kind of aspiring. So it's really cool to see that and be a part of it.
Yeah, it's the fun thing about the internet is that you can find all of our niche things out there and make friends. And be honest, yeah, Kurt and I have talked but never met him.
Yeah,
Just same as you. But hey, we share yerba mate and like to joke, and that's pretty much it. But it's cool that I would never probably found him otherwise, and I feel like I do kind of know him, even though like same with some other people that I've met and guests, and yourself included. It's always good to put a face with a name, but uh, we're testing this out. Just you guys listening right now. I'm using some new equipment I'm borrowing actually from my brother to try to make this a little bit more professional and use some video. And hopefully this goes well. And this will be on YouTube right now as you're watching this. But if not, at least hopefully you're hearing this on the podcast. So again, thank you for your willingness to just fly with this. And all in all, I guess that's kind of the beauty of your mate. It doesn't have to be professional. It's we can get into the doing it all fancy for Instagram or whatnot, but the truth is it's about a conversation, a connection. So yeah, let's start there. I know a little bit based off of the marketing on your beautiful packaging for the American Lion packaging that you sent me, which really enjoying that tea, by the way. I had some today. I've been a little under the weather, so it was great, little pick me up. And basically, I guess just to recap for the listeners, that basically your sister studied abroad and she introduced you. Obviously, there's more to that story, and I kind of want to hear, yeah, like how that first experience was, and where did it actually connect with you? Was it instantly, or did you kind of after a while get into it, or what was the connection? Because you yourself didn't per se, or at least I don't know that you experienced it in Argentina first. You kind of got it secondhand, I guess. So maybe just give us a little backfill on the details there.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, my sister's always been kind of like showing me cool stuff, and we're Montanans, right? And so we're kind of in this rural state and community, and so my mom and parents, to some extent, always encourage us to like travel and study languages and kind of have like a more global mindset because we are from this kind of rural community, so you can kind of get stuck in that kind of rural mindset if you're not careful. So my mom was always encouraging us to get out and see the world and study languages and stuff like that. And so my sister studied abroad in Argentina when I was in high school. At the time, she was in college, and so she brought yerba back to me, and I tried. She made a gourd for me, and to be honest, I tell this story to my people who, a lot anyway. But the first time I tried it, I was pretty sure I was never going to drink it again because I was like, yeah, I don't know, that's pretty bitter and strong and weird. But I was always like a coffee drinker, and so I kind of, like a lot of people, realized that yerba makes you feel better, and it's kind of got this different thing going for it. And so I tried it, wasn't sure I loved the taste, and then slowly got kind of hooked on it. And then once you realize how it makes you feel, like you do start craving the taste, right? And so I got hooked on it, and then Yeah, we're from, Montana. So I moved to Missoula. It's another city in Montana. I'm from Billings and I went there to go to college. And when I moved to Missoula, I found that you couldn't really find yerba mate anywhere. So this was in 2007, when I moved to Missoula. And so at that time, you couldn't find yerba mate anywhere. There was like one kind of specialty store that sold it, and it was $25 a pound, back then,
Mm.
pre-inflation or whatever. So it was pretty expensive. And I was drinking like a pound a week, and so it was getting expensive for a college student. So I just kind of hopped on the internet, which was a different place, 20 years ago. And so I started just kind of searching around and working with South American suppliers, and so I started importing it, all like the South American brands, the Tata Weed and Mananita and Rosamonte brands like that. And so I used to just kind of import those by the 50 to a few 100 pound batches or whatever, and I'd sell it to like a couple of specialty stores in town and sell it to my dorm mates to supply my yerba mate habit. So that was kind of how the business started, and it was really just like a hobby for me for a long time. And I kind of was able to make these connections, but I kind of imported it for fun and just whatever for from 2007 to about like 2014, and then I kind of took a couple of years off, and then 2016 we launched the Yerba Montana brand or whatever.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, talk about you know, start from the bottom. Yeah,
Yeah,
you literally just started a dealing business. So I mean, that's really cool. It's inspiring because, I guess maybe this is for me, but someone else listening too is kind of like, oh man, that seems so complicated, starting a business and all that other stuff, and it's just like, no, you just did it, like, and basically just out of honestly, people say that you have to have this super motive. It's like, really, you just we're trying to supply your own need and help some other
yeah,
people out in the meantime. But I mean, just find a better solution. It wasn't really that big of a deal. It was, um but yeah, I hear you, because we would drive 4 hours to Dallas when we were living in Louisiana to go to an Argentine store to buy stuff, because exactly like the internet, wasn't easily available and stuff. So, yeah, or you get it, yeah, at the health food store for exactly $30 a pound. It's like, well, I can drive to Dallas on every other weekend or something and pick up 10 kilos instead. So, but
yeah,
yeah, um, well, cool. Thanks for sharing that story. And I guess this is where I would want to dig in, is kind of like, you know, you started this business, and then, like, how did it grow from there? And getting into the organic and the packaging and all that it takes, you know, I guess from talk us through, I guess, the process of just basically importing some stuff, selling it to your dorm mates, to now it's a whole thing. And
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been a long and arduous process, and I'm still don't quite have it where I want it, but obviously I've got something at least going for me. I got a building, and we're in some stores and all that. But yeah, I think another thing about at least this community I'm in, Missoula, it's kind of like a college town, and so there's kind of some unique opportunities that I was able to take advantage of, and so we got like a lot of young people there into yerba mate for one thing, and so that kind of helps create a little buzz around stuff. And then we have these like outdoor markets, like a farmers market type thing, and so I was able to kind of get started there. I've been selling at the Missoula outdoor markets for since 2007. I was imported it that year, and we were also selling at the markets, and so we did that, and there's good local support from young yerba mate drinking folks, and then there's also like through the university and through like different local organizations, there's kind of a lot of like entrepreneurial support, and so I really leaned on a lot of those things pretty heavily. So there's like a business incubator on campus called the Blackstone Launchpad. And so I was there like every week, just like talking to any business person that I could find, getting advice. And so really, I'd say, I mean, I don't know if like one of the things that I attribute to at least getting me to where I am is like really networking and asking questions and like meeting people that can help with specific problems. And so that's something that there's these resources, the Chamber of Commerce, that launch incubator I was talking about, just other business professionals, because Montana kind of has a high rate of entrepreneurialism, right? Because there's not a lot of like, or at least there hasn't been in the past, like traditional industry here, there's a lot of like logging and stuff like that. And that kind of
Yeah.
went by the wayside. So we're kind of in this transition from like, there's a lot more tech jobs showing up and everything, but to be like, to live here, like a lot of people, if they don't want to leave, they have to become entrepreneurs. It's kind of like a really strong community support for that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I really kind of leverage that as much as I could. And so there's like a business, there's like a random programs that I've gone through that are like free programs. Are like, here's how you be a better entrepreneur. And so I really just, every opportunity like that I can find, whether it's free information or a hour-long chat with someone who knows someone who's in like the coffee or whatever grocery business or whatever. So for me, I've just been kind of like collecting knowledge and information for like a couple decades, and I think that, and networking too, obviously.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of how I like, yeah, just the support element of that, and people encouraging me too, right? It's like I was this Paul Gladden. He'll probably be glad if I name drop him, but he's this guy that ran that incubator program. And kind of what you're alluding to earlier is like a lot of people are like, oh, what do I do? I don't know what to do. But they just kept telling me like, just go do it. Like, go get out there, go get some accounts and go get some feedback. And it's like, and I think I was overcomplicating it myself too, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, you just got to go out there and try to get somebody to pay you for something. And if they like it, then you ask them why, and you get some feedback, and you keep doing more of that. And if they don't like it, then you do less of that. So, right. So I kind of embrace like the iterative process
Yeah.
of how they, and so yeah, I just keep iterating and, yeah, selling yerba mate. And I also have a commercial kitchen here. I'm in my warehouse. And so I've got a commercial kitchen and like a packaging facility. And I also let other food businesses kind of use our space. And so it's been kind of like coaching other businesses as well, but it's also learning at the same time. So I'd say I'm like heavily steeped in my industry, right? So from every angle I can possibly be. So it's like
Yeah.
learning from other entrepreneurs, learning from helping other entrepreneurs, like teaching and learning. And so I still, I still got work to do with the yerba biz, but yeah, it's starting to get to the point where it's paying dividends.
Yeah, and I imagine, it's easy to say now, like, look at all this progress, but I'm sure it was a lot of, said arduous, small steps and to get this far. I mean, you've been in it since 2007, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't happen overnight. Well, it's encouraging nonetheless, though, is like, you just start and then just keep going. I guess it's kind of the same thing. I guess looking at me as a podcast, I'm admiring you as a business, but me as a podcast, oh, I can never start podcast. Oh, it's so hard. It's like, I don't know. I just started recording stuff basically. When I look at it, it's like you kind of oversimplify it because you look back at yourself, like I just hit record and figured it out and asked some people. And it's yeah, I mean, I guess all that to say, don't overcomplicate it, just start somewhere and just do the next right thing. And the cool thing about, I guess, yerba mate is that you always have a conversational topic because people are always going to
Yeah.
ask you, what is that? What are you doing? Why? So, I mean, if nothing else, like at least you'll always have an excuse to network. So,
Yeah.
you know, but so cool. Well, I guess, you know, I'll try to lighthearted a little bit here, and then we'll go into maybe a little bit more just off the cuff. But I guess what keeps you going nowadays, now that you kind of get some success and stuff, and what's your kind of mission, I guess, besides obviously having a business and making money to feed your family and whatnot, but what's motivation behind that?
Yeah. I think, I guess I always wanted to be an entrepreneur in my mind, or like always knew I wanted to be self-directed, or I don't know if self-employed is the right word, but just like master of your own destiny or whatever, for lack of better words. And like when I was a little kid, I was making weird potions and going door to door in my neighborhood and trying to like sell these drinks that I made like when I was like 8 years old or whatever. So it's something I've always wanted to do. And I think what I really like about it and what draws me to it is like obviously having a flexible schedule is nice because you can kind of like tailor your day as how you need it. But what I like the most about it is like kind of having this an international mindset or like a more global mindset where you can meet people from all over the world, but also kind of like the community things. Like talking to you, for example, is something I really enjoy, and like helping these other people or like showing somebody Yerba Mate for the first time, or just like teaching and learning and like kind of having this like really broad kind of flexible mindset about the world. And so I kind of view business as a way to like just do that, right? So you're not like bogged down with like doing the same thing for 40 hours every day, which obviously a lot of people have to do. And
Yeah.
some people like what they do, right? But I just always like, I'm kind of like, I always want to be doing different things. And so it kind of gives me that flexibility to like, if I'm not feeling my one task, like manually laboring all day for packaging, I can pivot into, doing some sales work or graphic design type stuff or whatever. So it kind of just feeds this creative desire I have and like this like flexibility in my life that I want, and like having this kind of like connecting, community mindset with like a global, element to it as well.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's it's all great points, and it's kind of I think you've probably hit it on the head for a lot of us is like that experience of sharing your mate with someone that's never seen it before is a really cool experience. For anyone, I'm sure could agree. Like you get this, I don't know, being able to share your joy, I guess, with someone else, right? Because it's like just like almost anything, the person that does CrossFit or the marathoner, it's like, how do you know they're into yerba mate? Ask them, like they'll tell you, or I don't know. It's like,
Yeah. Right.
you're like, what is that? I'm glad you asked. I've been waiting to tell you about this, kind of,
Right.
well, let me go a little, I guess, off the cuff, lighthearted here for you. For one, I've been admiring that bombilla you got there.
Oh yeah.
Where did that come from?
This is from our friends in Brazil, and this is 80% silver, 20% copper, gold leaf. So it's like really high quality. I've been liking, so I like the precious metals when it comes to
Mhm.
yerba mate because they're antibacterial, right? And so
Mhm.
actually, like historically, a lot of yerba mate bombijas were silver because of the antibacterial
Mhm.
properties. Stainless steel is also really nice, but I really like, I don't know if you have any alpaca silver bombijas, but this is kind of like a random tangent, but they're actually like a nickel alloy, and they're not actually silver. And so they're like potentially toxic because nickel's toxic, especially when you add hot water to them. So I've been trying to focus into like really good material bombijas. And so I've had some glass ones made and they always shatter, and stainless steel I kind of like, but I really like this because it's got the anti uh, bacterial microbial properties, and it's really pretty.
Yeah, and
And
it's really
so
pretty.
and it's really pretty, yeah. And so I'm gonna get some like cool custom ones made from these people in Brazil. They work with they're friends of our yerba mate producers, and so at some point they'll be available, and I'll definitely hook you up with one when I get one.
Yeah,
But
nice.
yeah, they're really cool. You can kind of see you can see the like design work in there, and this is
Yeah.
actually like one of their more basic ones, but yeah, it's got some cool little kind of embellishments, and it's fun to drink out of.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's kind of
Mhm.
the cool thing about when you get into your mate. It's kind of like with any other hobby, you kind of go down the rabbit hole of, just for the basic setup. Then you've got 20 different mates, and I mean, you can only drink out of one at a time, but
Yeah,
it's each one has its own little story and whatnot, and same with the bombillas and everything else. But for you guys
yeah,
that can't see though, it's like a very like yeah, embezzled, I don't know, gold leaf looking, you know, if you're not seeing the YouTube video, I guess, but yeah, it's very nice. It's designed and it's got like the tip where the mouthpiece is even this gold look. It's so anyway, it's very nice. You were about to show me another one though that looked very
yeah.
unique.
My sister actually made this one. So if you like, if you want your own silver bombija, right? This is just a piece of 100% silver. You can buy them on most websites, right? And so
Yeah.
this
Just
is
slice
just,
those holes in them.
yeah, clank the end of it, cut a couple holes in it. So if you don't want to pay like whatever, I think I charge like $120 for one of those. But if you want to go get one of these little tubes for $15 worth of silver off the internet and bend it and put some holes in it, and you can have your own fancy antimicrobial yerba mate bombilla. So
Pro
obviously
tip.
not as beautiful, but very practical.
Yeah. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can start a little side hustle there. No,
Yeah, right.
give me an idea. So, well, so, yeah, have you been to Argentina?
Yeah. So I used to work with, and this is kind of interesting. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but a lot of the main yerba mate brands actually all come from one company. So like the Tatawi, the Manyanita, I think Playadito, Union. There's a handful of other ones of like the big names, right? But
Hmm.
they all come from this one producer who are actually nice people. I went down there like 7 years ago, and so it's the Las Marias
Hmm.
holding company. Maybe you've heard of them, probably. And so yeah, we went down there. We hung out with the Navajas family. They're the people that run it, and they kind of showed us around and let us stay at their jungle lodge and kind of just showed us everything about yerba. And we'd worked with them for probably 5 or 6 years at that point because that's who I originally started importing from. And so we went down there and hung out, and it was really awesome and super hospitable. And then we ended up pivoting away from Argentine yerba just because there's a lot of like price controls, and like Argentine government has historically done a lot to like mitigate the price or dictate the price of yerba. And so like overnight, for example, the price like doubled, and like it just became difficult to kind of navigate the volatility of the Argentine yerba market. So
Hmm.
I found some people right across the border from Argentina, Misiones, and Brazil. So it's like same region, but we work with a third generation family farm now. And so him and his grandpa started this kind of processing and yerba mate farm. And then now he's kind of more into the processing side of it, but then he's got a group of probably 10 or 20 other people who are landowning smaller shareholders who are all organic certified. And so my sister actually just went down there and kind of did some, just meeting on my behalf. I haven't actually gone down to the, but she was just down there a few months ago and kind of met everybody that I've been talking to for a few years. We've been importing from these guys for about 4 years now, maybe. And so she went down, got a bunch of pictures that you can see on the Instagram, and kind of put some faces to names and all that. But we're pretty close. I'm always texting with and make phone calling with these guys on the phone. So
That's cool.
so
So
now
you
we
guys
get it
got a
from
family
Brazil.
business going.
Yeah. It's fun. She's kind of employed as well, but she helps me when she can, and is all down with the yerba project. So
Nice. You learned any
mhm.
Portuguese or Spanish?
Yeah, actually, my Spanish is okay. And then I was watching one of your other podcasts with the jujitsu guy, and it's funny because I feel like yerba mate and jujitsu are kind of going hand in hand. And so my son's been studying jujitsu for about 9 months. I just started about 2 months ago,
Oh,
and
nice.
our instructor is Portuguese, and so I've been really boning up on my Portuguese with him, and then trying to improve it so when I go down there I can impress all my buddies and speak Portuguese. So yeah,
Yeah,
I've
no,
been
that's really
studying it.
cool. No, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely feel like, and kudos to, trying something new too, because, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not just, it's not just a simple hobby of like, folding paper airplanes or something. So,
Yeah,
it's a tough sport. And so kudos there, but also it's really cool how like your body movement and then language, like how those work hand in hand and stuff too. Like, the like putting it in, uh, I don't know, a method of, I don't know how of what I'm trying to say even here, but it's a way of like connecting the language to something you're using, not just in your mind, but through your body as well. And so processing, I guess, the information and then of course, Yerba Mate to, get that flow too. So, shout out
yeah,
to Yerba Mate then there too. Are
yeah.
you drinking Chimarrão right now, or is that
I've got like a Brazilian style gourd, but
you
it's
just
like
got a Kui? Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's
but it's
Argentine
the
kind of
Argentine cut.
grade.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm not. I don't love the Shimao, but it's maybe I'll start liking it more.
yeah. No, no, no. I mean,
Yeah,
hey, no offense. Brazil. You guys, love you guys too. Just
Yeah.
I just curious, yeah. So yeah, anything else, I want to give you some space to, shout out anything else that you want the listeners to know about your Montana, yourself, the company, anything at all. Um, just want to give you that space to, you know, say whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm really excited about, just Yerba Mate in general, and like the World Cup is coming up. And so I just feel like we're kind of like coming on this like precipice of Yerba Mate
For sure.
awareness and adoption, right? And so I guess there's a lot of misconceptions about Yerba Mate, like the caffeine content and like how you do it and like the gourd and all that stuff. So I'm really just hoping that everyone can kind of like learn about it and figure out different ways to use it and make it kind of like a more fun thing. And then people like us can be kind of the knowledge sharers and stuff like that. And that's what I'm happy to be doing. A lot of our business is actually ends up like bulk business. So I'm trying to like work on my whole retail presence and the and all that. And so yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, the messy effect. We're all riding the wave right now. At least
Yeah, right.
I am. I'm sure you're feeling some of it too, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yes, you guys check out Yerba Montana on Instagram. I'll tag them in this episode as well. I guess it's yerbamontana.com website.
Yep.
Okay.
Website's yerbamontana.com. I did make a coupon code for Yerba Mate Power, so the code, I'll have to double check what the code is.
We'll put it in the show notes. No worries.
Okay, yeah, it's Yerba Power, so that's 20% off. There's 20 of them, so
Nice. So you guys get to benefit from the conversation too. You get a discount with
yeah.
Yerba Montana. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have this up if this video works well on YouTube. It'll be cool to see. Uh, and if not, you at least have this audio to listen to, and we'll just redo this again if you're okay with that.
Yeah, yeah, we should keep on chatting and
Yeah.
as I kind of like delve into like a more direct to consumer brand, I'm sure I'll have more things to say and feedback to elicit. But yeah, I'm really excited about our Yerba Mate pouches. I know I kind of shared them with you, but this is something I'm really trying to dial in, right? So one thing I'm really excited about with our pouches is right, like I don't know if you've used Yerba Mate tea bags before. Have you
Yeah,
ever
the
had
just the
any?
regular, just general mate cocido, the regular, you know,
Right. So they all have
normal
like
generic
one.
stuff.
Right. All the Yerba Mate tea bags on the market all have like 1 to 2 grams of Yerba Mate in
Yeah.
them. And that's fine for like green and black tea, but like with Yerba Mate, you need quite a bit more to get it like strong. And so that's what I'm kind of excited about is our Yerba Mate pouches. And I really think this will be kind of like hopefully something that puts us on the map, right? And so one of these pouches is basically good for like 2 cans of guayaki drink or whatever. Like if you
Yeah.
put that in like 32 ounces of water in your fridge the next, in 4 or 5 hours or the next day if you cold brew it, like
Yeah. So I
75.
Yeah, and actually, the listeners and you, I don't think I told you this story, but actually, that's what I've been doing is I'll literally just get a cup of hot water and soak the tea bag, and I'll literally refill that cup like 3 to 4 times because it's
Mm-hmm.
still good, and it's still strong even to the fourth time or whatever. Like I'll literally just reuse that same bag, which is
Right.
cool because most of the tea bags in general, once and it's done, right? And especially with the Monte Cocido. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so anyways, really cool stuff. But I haven't tried cold brewing it yet, but that'll be on my list now. So thanks for the idea.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of other
Yeah.
stuff on the side too that I haven't tried. But
Oh, right. Yeah. Make like a
thanks.
tincture or whatever. But yeah, the cold brew actually kind of like, I'm sure you are aware of like tannins and heat and how it all kind of works out or whatever. So if you brew it cold, it does make it less bitter. So a lot of people have enjoy that or whatever. So, but yeah, that's kind of like where I want to position my company is kind of like a little bit more user friendly yerba mate that can kind of be like the baby steps into, this stuff or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because gourd can be a little strong for people, but when you have something like a tea bag, I'm also developing a yerba mate chai. We've got some other like instant yerba mate stuff. And so I'm really trying to make it like a more accessible and
Mhm.
familiar experience for people that can kind of help get their feet wet in the yerba mate world. And
Yeah.
then, And then you can kind of branch out and do the other stuff too. But
Yeah, I appreciate that too, because it's like making it accessible without giving up too much of the traditional and the essence, right? Because you don't want to like, I guess, prostitute it too much of the yerba mate of, where it's losing everything. Um, but
right, like
yeah,
the Guayaki cans, for example, right? They add like 100 milligrams of caffeine from coffee to each of their cans, which I don't know if most people know that, but I think they
I
kind
didn't
of
know
make
that.
this. Yeah, so there's this kind of misconception that yerba mate is like ultra high caffeine content. So you get all these people that are coming from Guayaki that are like, oh, it's so much caffeine, I don't know. But in reality, in a can of Guayaki, it's probably like the amount of yerba mate in one of their cans probably yields about 30 milligrams of caffeine. And then they market them as 150 milligrams of caffeine. So they'll actually add caffeine from coffee or tea. And so in my mind, it's more like, so people are thinking that this like weak tasting yerba mate is like as strong as coffee. And so that's actually inaccurate. So that's kind of this like, because
Hmm.
there's all these like not anti caffeine, but people are becoming more sensitive to
Sure.
caffeine, right? And so
Yeah,
they
and I
think
think
that,
it's getting a bad label there too. Because I mean, sure, it's there's if you're taking quadruple shots of espresso, maybe you should dial it back, But
right,
also that we both know, and those maybe that didn't know that the mateina, the yerba mate caffeine is different and delivered different than the coffee. But also, I
mm-hmm.
think the main thing is the sugars. That's the thing with the energy drinks and everything, right? It's
Right, right,
not so much the caffeine; it's the 60 grams of sugar that So, but
yeah,
we can rant on that on the next episode for sure. And
yeah,
would love to hear more about the college experience with the young people and matiadas and things like that too. So maybe we'll put that on a part two if you're up for it.
absolutely.
Sweet, man. Well, hey, MacKay, I really appreciate you for what you're doing for the Yerba Mate community, joining part of this podcast. And until next time,